Good evening, LTL Nation. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Anita, and welcome to a new talk on bad habits with Live Talks Live tonight. What are really bad habits? Too much chocolate? Definitely. Smoking? For sure. Arguing with people all the time? Most likely. Now, let's look at it from a different way. Bad habits derive from the Latin word habitare, which means habitant. Habitant means life. So our habits, whether they're good or bad, it's our way of living life. The question is not whether your habits are good or bad. The question is, how are your habits serving you? How are you living with them? How are you feeling while having them? Now, bad habits are actually something that we continue to do on a regular basis. They are basically formed with a continuous practice and continuous way of doing. So what happens is our neural pathways form a connection with something that we are doing every single day or every second, third day, or no matter how many times we are doing that. Now the question is really, why are you having your habits? Are they really good or bad, and who is actually deciding that? When I was back in high school, I remember there was a huge group of smokers, like we were 16 years old, always smoking in our school breaks, and even before school and even after school. At that time, back then, this was considered actually something to be really cool. So it wasn't a bad habit, it was a cool habit to have. And because the students were doing that, more and more followed them to be part of that smokers group, because it was cool to be together, to sit together, to stand together, and to just have a cigarette, and to gossip and to talk about the lessons and the topics that we were having at school. And the question is it really a bad habit, or is it just something we like to do to be social? Now, whether we are conscious or not of it, habits is something that we are having throughout our life in almost every area of our life. When we are going to work every day, every morning with things that we are doing, they are habits. So if you're brushing your teeth every morning, if you're putting your clothes, listening to a certain tune, making your coffee, your tea, or whatever it is that you do, it is a habit. And bad habits is something that is actually not serving us. So you have to ask your question. Is the habit you are having a good one, or is it a bad one? And the question is not whether society considers it good or bad. The question is how you consider it and how you feel about doing this. Because reality is, sometimes people consider people that love money to have a bad habit to love money. But is it really a bad habit? A bad habit can be everything. I'm not talking just about smoking. I'm talking about drinking too much alcohol, perhaps even taking drugs. Just being a person that tends to nag. And that is a bad habit. And a bad habit is something that we are completely out of control. We are doing it subconsciously. We are not anymore aware of that. But neuroscience has proven that we can change our pathways within 30 to 60 days. And that doesn't mean that you can change it just by thinking about it. It actually requires radical action. But are you really keen to give up your bad habit, or would you rather keep it? I have some bad habits, I would say. Some of them are being a sports junkie. And I'm really a very feisty person if I can't do that. But is it really a bad habit, or is it something that I just love to do? And again, the question is really up to you how you perceive it. Now, I'm sure you know the saying that bad habits are dying hard. And why is that? Again, it goes back to there was a point in your life where you started creating that habit. And how did you start creating it? What were the circumstances? What was the reason? There are several ways to go about your habits, and I'd like to ask you a few questions today that you can consider and think about, okay, why am I doing what I'm doing on a regular basis? The question is, when does your bad habit actually happen? What is the circumstance around it? What is the situation? Is there a certain time during the day? Are there certain people around? Is there a certain situation, for example, stress or happiness, where you have your bad habit? The second one is, how many times a day are you having it? Is it just once a day? Is it several times? Or is it perhaps just once a week? And where are you when you are having your bad habit? Are you perhaps with people socializing? Are you at home by yourself? Who are you with? Who are the people that you are with when you're having and when you're living your bad habit? Are those people who have the very same habits that you have? Or are they not? And the last part basically of this question is, what triggers your bad habit? For example, I do smoke, and I know it's considered a bad habit, but I have certain reasons and certain situations when I smoke a lot, and I have situations where I don't smoke at all. When I have a lot of stress, I smoke. When I'm socializing with people and I'm out and about, I smoke. So ask your question, what is really triggering you to have that bad habit and to actually let it out? Because a bad habit is not something that you can get rid of, but it's more of creating a completely new lifestyle. There are bad habits that are actually not so bad, and you just have to ask yourself the question, how do you live with it and how do you enjoy actually doing it? Because that's all what it is about in the end. A bad habit is necessarily not bad. It's only bad if it doesn't serve you, if it makes you feel bad, and if it makes the people around you feeling bad. Breaking habits doesn't go overnight. It is a conscious decision that you take. I know when I used to start smoking, I was about 21 years old. I smoked for about 2 years, but I wasn't a heavy smoker. And then I stopped. I made a conscious decision to just quit smoking entirely. And for 3 years, I didn't even lit a cigarette, a single one. Even I had smokers around me, and I had several situations that actually could have triggered me smoking again. But when I started smoking was at university, when we had exams and I started being nervous and I was with my fellow students around and every one of them was smoking. So ask yourself the questions, why are you really doing that? When are you doing it? Who are you with? And what triggers it? Do you really need it? Or are you just doing it out of a lack of self-control? Let go of resistance. That's the main part in considering letting go of bad habits. Because resistance is something that really keeps us away from many things in our lives. And when we have a bad habit, it's usually because we are stuck in a comfort zone that we are having. So the moment we get out of it, we explore something completely new. We create a new life for ourselves. And as long as you are happy with whatever it is that you're doing, and with whatever kind of habits that you are having, you'll be able to break them and to replace them with new ones. Because habits are there, no matter what we do. So it's just up to you to decide whether it is a good one or not, whether it's harming you or other people around you. So that was my talk that I had tonight about bad habits. I hope it can help you, and I hope you don't throw your chocolate and your cigarettes the way I did. But in any case, just really think about how they're serving you and how you live your life with them. And it's not about other people considering your habits being bad. It's about the way you consider them. So please tune in tomorrow as Omar and Dunya are taking on bad habits. I'll see you next week again, same time, same place. God bless you. Have a beautiful evening and goodbye.